already making their way to the podium, starting with Greg Popovich on a travel night as they head back to Texas.
Greg, Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. You guys played
Santa Rosa?
Santa Rosa, about an hour north of San Francisco.
That's where the Rare Wine Company is.
There's some wine up there. There is.
I'm very envious of you.
Neither one of us are there now, but you guys played so well without Kawhi in your closeout game in the last series. Since he got hurt in this series, not so much. Is that just the Warriors do you have any concerns about the level of intensity of your team tonight?
Well, if we would have won the game, I'd still have concerns. That's what coaches do. But I think tonight, it's not what I expected. I'm disappointed. And the only way I can process is I think it's not about O's and X's or rebounds or turnovers or anything like that. I think we've maybe felt it too much, Kawhi being gone, in the sense that I don't think, as I watched, I don't think they believed. And you have to believe. And I don't think as a group they really did, which means probably a little bit feeling sorry for themselves, psychologically, subconsciously, whatever psychobabble word you want to use. But that's the way I process it. I don't think they started the game with the belief. And it showed in the lack of edge, intensity, grunt, all that sort of thing. And that was disappointing. But when you're playing a team that's as good as Golden State, you're going to get embarrassed if that's the way you come out. And we did. So I think that's the deal more than anything. We'll put it away, go get a meal, and, game 3, I expect to see a different team.
Pop. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. When you talk about belief, does that come from leadership? Is that on any one guy, or is that just a collective belief?
It looked pretty collective to me. I don't think it was one guy who didn't believe and he infected everybody else or anything like that. I think as a group, they just let themselves down. So, we talked about it during the game, halftime, after the game, because I think, the truth always, quote unquote, sets you free, and you can't sugarcoat it or say if we would have just made a couple shots, we'd have been right there. That's pretty lame. So call it like it is, and we didn't come to play. We felt sorry for ourselves. We need to get slapped and come back and play game 3 and see who we are. That's what I'm anxious for.
Jabari Young, San Antonio Express News. Coach, I know collectively you said they didn't believe, but did you get something out of Simmons? I saw you embraced him on one of those substitutions.
John was, I don't know if the only, but one of the very few who came to play. He came to play. I thought John was great. At both ends of the floor, he was intense, and he played to win, for sure.
Was it immediately from the start that you saw this, or did it take a couple of minutes
quit
for you
slicing hairs. Jeez, was it from the start?
Okay.
No, it was at 1 minute and 37 seconds is when we figured that out.
Okay, thank you.
Or maybe it was 3 minutes in, then we realized.
Okay.
Come on.
Pop, I don't know how one way those not sugar-coated conversations are. Do you get anything back in the post-game locker room, or does those conversations happen more on the next day?
No, I just say it once. I don't sugarcoat too much. And they're character guys. They know that I'm going to tell them. I never blow smoke at them. I never try to play a game with them and trick them into thinking this or that. I just tell them what the deal is. And they respond because they've got character. And they know I'm telling them the truth. There's no reason why I would do anything different. Whether it's flattering to them or embarrassing to them, I'm going to say it.
Did you hear anything back from them, though?
No, nobody spoke. I don't need to hear back from them. They process it. They're smart people.
What specifically do you need from LaMarcus going forward in the next game?
LaMarcus he's got to score for us. He can't be timid. He turned down shots in the first quarter. He can't do it. He's got to score. Scoring's got to come from someplace. And I think he's got a major responsibility in Game 3 to come out and to get something done, whether it's for himself or teammates. If they come after him, that kind of thing, to find somebody, to not turn it over, to get us good shots, to take shots when they're open. He's got to do it. No doubt about it.
Coach, Danny Green, what about his play? He look like he's another person that probably needs to step up to.
They did what? I'm sorry.
Danny Green, what do you have to say about his play?
Danny was in the other category with everybody else beside John. John was in a category by himself. Everybody else was in the other category.
You've been through this a few times, I'm sure. When you have an embarrassing loss, what is your expectation? How often does the team come back in the third game, fired up, ready to play, or does this carry over?
Well, I don't know many. You're talking about past playoffs, the third game. I'm not that smart to remember what game, this, that, or the other that we got embarrassed in. I remember Detroit. We got embarrassed 2 in a row in Detroit, and then we won game 3 there, or game 5 there. But I'm not going to go. That's too complicated. That doesn't mean much. All I care about is the next game, and we'll see how they come out. You know, they'll either win or they'll lose, but I want to see how they play. And if they do the right things and play the game and obey the basketball gods, they'll have a great chance to win.
Coach, back to LaMarcus right fast. You said he was timid. Is any idea where that comes from with him?
You want me to be a psychologist now? You want me to?
Just do your best.
No, I'll pass. I already talked about what I need from LaMarcus. I'm not going to psychoanalyze him. I don't think he deserves that.
Coach Ryder, Nate Duncan, Twitter Sports. What have you had the most trouble with executing so far that you guys need to clean up in the third game?
Well, you know, we blew a great opportunity in game 1, and it was turnovers. 31 points off turnovers is not a good thing. And on the board, we were very passive on the board, especially down the stretch when we could have sealed it away, and we didn't do that. So those were the 2 concerns after game 1.